There's been a lot of Indian people from India playing poker recently at the Venetian. A lot of tourists, a lot of visitors, and they'll come in groups and they'll sit down at one table or various tables and they'll play 2 or 3 hours, usually not very well, to be honest, and they'll have a lot of fun. They'll go again. This guy was decently good, but he was what I'm going to call an aggressive amateur or an aggressive recreational player. We'll use that phrase. And this is very dangerous. There's various kinds of non-professional or recreational poker players. And the worst kind of recreational poker player to be is a passive recreational poker player, which is what 90% of recreational poker players are. They limp in and then they allow the pros to limp in too. Now the pros get to realize 100% of their equity for a very cheap price when you allow them to limp in. You should not do that if you want to make money or we want to have a chance at all. Anyway, this guy was dangerous. He would raise with nothing. He would bet with nothing. And so he really kept you on your toes. And it doesn't matter how good you are. It's always difficult, as Doyle Brunson says, to play against someone who's constantly betting, constantly raising. So that was this guy. He was constantly betting, constantly raising. So again, we have limp in. I'm on the button with 3-4 of diamonds. The flop is 3-3-4, 2 spades. So I flop a full house. Checks around to this aggressive gentleman who bets $20, and I call. Everyone else folds. Another spade. Comes back to him. He checks, which people like this who are aggressive, even if they're not calculating hand ranges and trying to put you on specific hands, they do understand that when you check, you probably have something good. So he checks to me. I bet 20 again, wondering how much I can milk this for. And he calls. The river is yet another spade. And it comes back, checks back to me. He checks to me. And I bet 50. And now he does this thing that I thought was going to happen all the time when I played poker. When I first started learning poker. When I first started playing poker, I thought it was going to be this game where you're trying to soul read people and look deep into their eyes and figure out what their cards are and see the emotional turmoil going on with them if they bet or if they raise, or to find out the truth of the cards. I thought that's what's going to happen. Nowadays, that doesn't happen very often. I'm usually going through the hand, thinking about the actions they took in response to me, and then making decisions based upon that. But he was back in that mode of, let's figure out what this guy really has. And so he's staring me down. There's a $50 bet there, which honestly for me nowadays is not much. But he's staring me down like I'm going to start sweating or my pulse is going to start beating or something's going to happen to show that I'm either nervous or strong or weak. I don't know what he's looking for at this point. And honestly, I don't know what to look for either. So I don't bother looking most of the time at people when they bet. I'm thinking about the hand, as I said, 90% of the time, and the action. But he's doing that, and it's kind of fun, and it's kind of funny, and I don't know, should I smile? Should I not smile? Should I make jokes? Should I try to seem relaxed? Should I try to seem afraid? I don't know what to do. In the early time of poker, I thought I had to pretend or to try to be strong or weak or something, but now I have no idea, after playing thousands of hours, what the correct course of action is there as he's trying to soul read me like Charlie Carroll. So anyway, he's looking at me, and without calling, he flips over his cards. He has Jack, Queen of Spades. So he had a flush on the turn on a paired board, and now he has a Queen High flush still. And he's looking at me for the reaction. And again, I don't know what reaction to give him. Is that what I should do? Then he would see I was terrified of the spade flush and I'm just bluffing with hearts and he should call. Or should I seem strong? I can beat that. Like, I don't know what to say to get him to call this bet or how to act. Tell him I have a full house. Some poker players will do that. Yeah, I've got a boat. I've got you beat, right? They'll just say that to the person, knowing they're not going to be believed quite often, and the person will call. So anyway, I haven't mastered table talk yet. I haven't mastered all of this psychological stuff. I'm more into what are my cards and what should I be doing with them and what kind of bets should I be making right now. So he's doing this. And finally, he thinks about it, and he calls. And then I flip over my boat, and it's good, obviously. And I win, and he says, I felt that you were good. I felt that you had a very strong energy. I felt that you wanted to call. Now, number one, if that's what you felt, then why did you call? Because, okay. But number two, is that a real thing? What do you think? If you play poker, do people have energy? Can you feel it? Do you know when someone's strong or not? Do you have a different energy when you're strong versus when you're weak? Is that something like your aura that you can broadcast or that people feel? Can you feel that with other people? I'm just curious what everyone's experience is, because that was his comment. Let me know what you think.